now your intention to go for tax reform, or what's next on your...
We'll probably be going right now for tax reform, which we could have done earlier, but this really would have worked out better if we could have had some Democrat support. Remember this, we had no Democrat support, so now we're going to go for tax reform, which I've always liked.
Hi, that was President Trump speaking earlier today from the White House after the GOP health care bill was pulled. Now, the president said Republicans will now mostly turn their attention to focus on tax reform. We continue with the former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. All right. I actually feel pretty optimistic that at the end of the day, they're going to get this health care bill done. I think they have to do it. I like your idea of bringing everybody in, but I also like the idea behind closed doors. I don't like the idea of a public fight among every faction in the Republican Party. I don't think it served anybody well.
Look, I like it being out in the open because this is about you. It's about your children. It's about your mother. It's about everybody you know. And I think if you're going to deal with health issues, the more open and public it is, the more let people talk themselves out. You've got a couple committees you can assign this to.
Yeah.
Let them have hearings all over the country, and let them build a consensus.
But the problem with health care is your window's closing because reconciliation's over in May. And the next opportunity reconciliation is going to be used on the tax bill.
Look, use reconciliation for the tax bill. Forget reconciliation for health care. The Republican leadership tried to put us between the insanity of the Congressional Budget Office, which is totally phony, and the absurdity of the Senate reconciliation rules, which are goofy. Okay? That's where they tried to do this, and that's why it collapsed, because you couldn't do anything that was explainable to normal, everyday Americans. And people kept saying, well, you don't understand. Eventually in Phase 2 or in Phase 3.
Right. This
country.
How many Americans know what reconciliation is? How many people know what the Byrd rule is? How many people know what cloture is? You're right. Why was it in 3 phases, not 1 phase?
When you say to people, trust me, we're going to fix it in Phase 2 and 3, having just elected a president based on the grounds that they don't trust anybody in Washington.
You're right.
And we turn around and ask them to trust us with their lives, it ain't going to work.
Good point. All right, so here's a question I have.
But I'll tell you this. I believe the president should have 2 parallel projects. Tax reform, which I'm totally for, which helps create jobs, and infrastructure, because infrastructure will be bipartisan, will bring Democrats in, will create a different tone, and we need to build a Trump majority of about 300 or 325 in the House and about 65 in the Senate, and just change the tenor of Washington away from this harsh partisanship, which then sets the stage for a much better health bill that might, surprise, surprise, actually have Democrats vote for it.
Okay. I love everything you just said there. I think you're dead on. It's a positive solution. We're going to get some wins out of it. The country's going to be better off, which at the end of the day, I don't care about any of these politicians, to be honest. I care about the American people, the forgotten men and women that elected this president, and he's trying to deliver for. All right, I want to go back to something you said, because earlier this week, Chuck Schumer, I'm going to filibuster. If he's going to filibuster Neil Gorsuch, no Republican could ever pass to get cloture. So that means the nuclear option is probably going to have to be used. Here's my question. Republicans play by one set of rules where they're going to allow an up or down vote for Elena Kagan, Sonia Sotomayor, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Democrats don't play by those rules. Get rid of it. Use the nuclear option. Make it a simple majority in the Senate. Good idea?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have no doubt that Mitch McConnell is going to go to a simple majority. And the fact is, I think Chuck Schumer knows that, but Chuck Schumer knows that his left wing will lynch him if he caves an inch. And so he'd rather survive for another day, give up this ground, which, by the way, when the next Supreme Court seat comes up, is a huge deal. If Schumer creates the precedent that you can approve somebody with 50 votes plus the vice president, now he allows Trump, and the next time, to really move the court towards the most conservative court in modern times.
All right, Mr. Speaker, good points. I think at the end of the day, we'll look back. This was a minor hiccup. And I also think the president comes out looking good because he was so active and involved and showed that he'll work with a lot of people. So I think this is going to be a hiccup through the prism of history. Thank you for being with us.